get back in the sugya. So let's take a step back so let's get our heads in the right place. First of all, just a super screaming fast review of what we did so far. I mean, super screaming fast. So I'm going to erase this. We had our simanim for each daf. Let's just review those very quickly. I never did this before, so I'm surprised at myself. I never did it before. So here we're doing it now for the first time. We said base is a bite,
a man and upside down,
which is a house, and our mnemonic for it was the base. Our picture was a house with an ani,
bread.
A poor man eating his bread with salt. Standing on him was the Cohen. Saying Kriya Shema. What were the triggers there?
Okay.
Base my house, that's not relevant. But the ani, because we had a big effort in that daf, trying to reconcile the time. The ani, if you remember, we said, when is Kriya Shema time? I'm doing a review of the recital so far, this one will take us 50 minutes, I'll be done. We said that the Mishnah said the starting time of Kriya Shema is when? Seitzu Kochavim, right? Exactly. And the exact lashon of the Mishnah was, this is important for our mnemonic, Mishnah Kohanim Nichnasim Lechol B'Trumasim, when the Kohanim can come eat their Truma. Which said is Seitzu Kochavim, reference to a Kohen who was a Zav, who needed to come Tahor, went to the mikveh, he's still a Tavul Yom, it's called, a Shem Tuma, until nightfall. And at nightfall, he can now eat his truma again. So the
picture had 3 stars.
The picture had 3 stars. That's right. So thank you. So we said that the Gemara had brought a brisa in the way, and the brisa said, "Oh, you know when Kriya Shema time is for evening? From when the ani comes to eat his dinner until he gets up and walks there to dinner." So the Gemara said, "Well, certainly getting up and finishing his dinner, which is, let's for argument's sake, say an hour after he starts. I'm sure it's less, but for argument's sake, getting early in the evening, that cannot be reconciled with the Mishnah, which had said the finishing time for Kriya Shema is, when's the last thing you say? When's the cutoff time for saying Kriya Shema of
Midnight.
Evening? Midnight, according to the Chachamim.
Either midnight or...
According to Rabbi Eliezer, it was
just before dawn.
Rabbi Eliezer, it was...
Rabbi Eliezer, 1/3 of the night.
First third, right? Because he had 3 watches. The first third of it, he goes... There's Machokas and Ram, we'll see, but like Rav Nassan, there's 3 watches. Rabbi Eliezer in the first third, Chacham in the first half, and someone else had the whole night.
Rabbi Yochanan?
No.
Rabbi Gamliel.
Rabban Gamliel, which I told you, Rabban means he's a Nasi. Our Rav is the Chachamim. I'm in reverse order now, and up, and Eliezer. Eliezer. So he had said the first third, they had said the first till midnight, he had said the whole night, till Velos HaShafar. So the Gemara said, you can't reconcile the Brisa, which says the finishing time is when the ani gets up from dinner, with any of these shitas, because there's no way it's not lasting, 4, 6, or 8, or 12 hours. But what about the beginning time? Can we reconcile the starting time when the ani comes in to eat his dinner, his bread and salt, with the starting time of the Mishnah, which was when the Kohen comes in and eats his truma, meaning it's 6. And we did a lot of gymnastics there of the shitas trying to reconcile the two. Can they be reconciled or not? In the end, we said no, they cannot. That was it shook out after we had by the base on the base. We had to shake out. It cannot be reconciled. We said the ani happens a little later on. And along the way, we'd seen a total of 5 shitas, if you remember, of exactly when is the starting time, basically from a moment, from Shkia and on to basically this time. In any case, that's too much detail. But the point is, we said we have the ani eating because of that story, and Cohen standing on his head because we want to reconcile on the same place or not the same place, and the Cohen is saying Kriya Shema because our topic was Kriya Shema of the evening, hence the dinner that he's eating in the 3 stars. That was base. Good. Great. Daf Gimel. It was obviously more to the daf, that's what we focused on. Daf Gimel. We said Gimel is a mnemonic for a
Camel.
Right, and what was our picture?
3 camels.
3 camels.
One with
in a ruin. I wanted in a ruin.
Right.
Right.
Ruin, right.
The first one carrying.
One is W and no. Sorry.
Eliyahu Navi.
Okay, well, yeah.
No. Eliyahu Navi's the
I'll make
last.
my 3 camels here. I want you to see. Here's camel 1 in my picture. not bothered their heads, but 3 camels, and on them, the first one was carrying a lion
And a dove.
and a dove. Don't need all those pictures.
Right.
The second was carrying
Pieces.
Eliyahu,
And dove mouse.
and this was
The lion symbolizes strength
Yeah.
and peace.
so. This is important because this was the story of the dove, so to speak. We said 3. One, I could have picked 4 too, but I picked 3 because there were many 3s. How's the dove Gimel? That's just coincidental. Gimel is not Gamal. Gimel's not 3. Gimel is Gamal. But as it happens, there were many 3s in the dove. Remember any of them? There was
three reasons why you shouldn't go into a ruin.
very good. 3 reasons to shoot out the room, which were, by the way, remember what they were?
It depends if you're. They might think you're up to no good.
Right, good. So we had Chashad, that was the first, correct?
And they're worried about demons.
Danger and demons.
Shadim. That was called
Mazik.
Rashi equates Mazik with Shadim, but yeah.
And danger.
And danger, exactly.
And
Exactly. Danger
Might
was
fall
the,
down,
was
right?
the lashon of the Gemara was Mapolet. Mapolet, it could collapse on you. So if you should want. And the Gemara on the top of the base, I don't remember of Gimel base, started wrangling, well, Tapuk, what if I have 1 or 2 of these, what is the third one, and it wrangled those different issues. We said Chashad doesn't apply if you're in the midbar or if you're 2 people and they're kosher. Mapolet doesn't apply if it's a new construction that happened to fall in, it's not rickety. Mazikin didn't apply if you had 2 people, they'd affect you, or unless you were in Bimkoman Chashina, unless you're in a well-known haunted house. Good, that was one of the 3s. Can you remember any other 3s that were in the daf?
The 3 mishmaros.
Very good. That was the first
3
3.
watches.
Exactly. There are 3 watches of the night,
3 watches.
right? And that was going that's Rabbi. That we passed like that, and that was remember the first third of the night. At each of the 3 watches of the night, Hashem roars out like a lion. That was the lion issue, and he roars out Shoeg, and that was the Rosh. If you remember, we saw in the Shulchan Aruch and Siman Aleph of Orachaim, the Rosh paskin like that shita. That since Hashem is roaring like a lion the first third of the night, that's when you should cry out over the Beis Hamikdash. And we saw the halacha that every Yerei Shemayim should be doeg and meitzar of the Beis Hamikdash, and we said Tikkun Chatzos is Chatzos, but of course the Rosh should be the first third of the night. The lion is roaring out. Hashem roars over the Chorban and the Galus. That was the 3 watch 3 times in the night. That was the other 3 watches. There's actually another 3, which maybe I'll prompt you in a second. Get those.
3 hours, whatever, when the kings get up. Okay.
Okay, that's a little good.
Okay.
There was a mention of that, and that was which I will. Okay, I'll say it now since you bring it up. We might as well say, in the right order. We had a question along the way. David Melech got brought up because he said that he got up at midnight. We got onto that, and we're talking about Meda Machlok is on the way. Whatever. David Melech beginning up at midnight, and we said that.
Rooster.
This machlok was it, so this will just follow one thought at a time. It's discursive, we're still in our minds like that. But we said David Melech got up at night. We ended up getting into the issue of David Melech getting up at night because we brought up later on in the daf, there's a machlokus whether the night is divided into 3 watches, Ashmurot, or 4 watches. According to Rav Nassim, it was 3, and that's why we asked him, but according to Rabbi Yehuda Nasi of our Mishnah, it was 4. And we said, they brought proofs each way. One proof was from Gidon that he got up he said he went up in the middle watch implies before and afterwards. And Rabbi Yehuda Nasi says, okay, one of the middle ones. But then, that's why that was there, how to dealt with that issue. But the reason why Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, Rabbi, said that there were 4 watches is because there's a pasuk in Tehillim that says, David says, I get up, but Ashmurot early, multiple Ashmurot ahead of time to praise you. So he says, well, it's like, I can get up Ashmurot unless there are 2 of them, because another pasuk says, David got up at midnight. So midnight is Ashmurot, unless there are 2 before and 2 after. That was how we got with that. So one of the questions was, well, how does Rav Nassan resolve the question of if there's only 3, how does Rav Nassan say multiple Shmurot? The 2 answers. The first answer was, this is where it mentioned 3 hours, like you said. It says, listen, nights, there are 12 hours a night. Midnight is 6, before and 6 after. Rav Nassan get up at midnight. Now that's, and he's saying, I mean, just picture conceptually, if you will, according to Rav Nassan, the night's divided into thirds. Okay? David Melech is going to have in the middle of it. So his answer was, well, listen, there are 6 that he got up hours before. This is alos. You see my word is schematic here? This is tseis, nightfall, los, at the end of the night. The 3/3, according to Rav Nassan. And David Melech got up at midnight. It's only 6 hours, but we said, and this is the 3, that Rav Nassan holds it, Rav Yoshua, a lot of details, that normal kings get up in the 3rd hour, that was your 3, and so that means meaning 2 hours and a bit into the day, the kings are getting up, and if you add David Melech, who says, I get up earlier than I should have, so to speak, that by rights I could get up, you have 6 hours at night, midnight, and 2 hours of the day, that he precedes regular kings, for a total of 8 hours. I get up 8 hours early, so David Melech, so to speak, and if the night's divided into thirds, each third is how many hours? 4. So by saying I get up Ashmurot early, what it meant was I get 2 Ashmurot worth of time. 2 times 4 equals 8. So saying I get up 8 hours early. That was one shot. Convoluted since you brought it up. Another shot by Rav Ashi said 1.5, those are called Ashmurot, plural. Good. Anyways, there was another 3, which was by Eliyahu. Eliyahu taught Rabbi Yossi
3 things.
3 things, that's right. Remember what they were?
Not to go into a room.
Right, good. Right.
That when you're on the way to pray a short prayer.
Right now, right?
And the 3rd one.
Tefillah Katsar was called. Tefillah Katsar, which I will call Havinenu for my own reasons, which one day will become clear. There's 2 kinds of Tefillah Katsar usually means, the Gemara had said, one second. Don't go into a ruin. So, second of all, you can pray on the way. It's okay.
Right.
And when you pray on the way, you should pray
the
short prayer.
Abbreviated.
Tefillah Katsar. On the way. Yep. Right, so just so you should know, one day when we get to the 4th parak, we will see Tefillah Katsara referred to this like basically super duper short one-liner, which says like, yeah, Tzarchem, it's a Boish Hashem, what was it? Tzarchem Amcham Rubim, and Chol Parshas Ibur Yu Tzarchem L'fanecha. I don't remember. But anyways, whatever it is, there's like a one-liner that if you're in a Malkum Sakana, you're running for your life, so you can't stop for a minute, just say a one-liner and then make a Hashlama later on. Tefillah Katsara, in this context, is not running for your life. Therefore, you say what's called Havinenu, which basically said the first 3 and the last 3 in one middle bracha, which includes all the 13 paragraphs. Okay, we'll get there. It doesn't matter. So that was another 3. There are multiple 3s. Yeah.
Wasn't there another 3 where Rabbi Lazar was told that now he knows it's the morning time, right? The dog's barking, the donkey braying, and the
very good.
Yeah,
so,
and the infant nursing.
Very good. When we said there are 3 watches in the night, so we said at each and every mishmar there is Hashem roars out, and the reason why it was taught in this weird way is to teach you that the same way there are simonim, that the same way there's watches in upstairs with the angels switching their guard. There are watches down here, and as you can tell when the guard is being switched, and the signs that were, the first watch was the donkey brays, the second watch the dog barks, the third watch the mother's nursing the babies and talking to the father. That's right. So, and that was how the Rosh said, technical dots. The Rosh scratched his head and asked, who cares? Why need to know when the angels are changing their song upstairs? It must be something for us to do downstairs. And that's why he said it must be. You can tap into that Hashem going up and being mates over the base of English. Very good. Very good. So we had the first camel carrying a lion, because Hashem roars like a lion. That was the pasuk 3 times. Hence that was the source of 3 watches. But then later on, when Rabbi Yossi met Eliyahu Navi in the Churva, Eliyahu Navi said, "What voice did you hear?" He said, "I heard a voice." The same 3 times of the base of Mikdash, crying of the Churva in the base of Mikdash and Golas. But he didn't hear a lion. He heard a dove cooing. So that was the lion and the dove. And Eliyahu Rabbi said to him, "Not, you bet your life that your life and life of your head, literally, that happens every time that Hashem, that they say Yemen Yeheshme Rabbah, and so on." So that's a line of David and Eliyahu who met Rabbi Yossi in the Churban, and finally King David who got up at midnight themselves. Good. That was Gimel. Excellent. Daled, which is a much less complex. I went easy with the Daled one. Daled was
Door.
door, right? Daled.
A door expanding from Gula to
Gula to
Kotel.
So the same way, that's the horrible Daled. The same way that Gimel, don't think three, think Gamal, even though lots of threes. Daled, people will probably think, oh, David, because King David teaches throughout the daf. But no, we have to be consistent. This is why is it important? Because again, we'll have, as the Shem, we get to Shabbos, again, daf Daled of Shams will be another door. Understand, and so on. David Melech will be there. So Daled, we said, is a door, and our picture was a door spanning from the Geula neighborhood to the Kotel, and upon the door was David Melech in a Chassid costume. The reason why it was a fake payas, because we had a long, complicated discussion. I'm not going to go into it now so much, but we discussed about the issue of being somach gula to tefillah, and we talked there about where Kriya Shema, bookending the day, the beginning and the end, the three tefillas in the middle, and or the Kriya Shema before Shachris and before Marv, and so on. That topic is quite relatively technical. And that was in so many tefillah. And then in David Melech, a long sugya there, David Melech said, "Lo chassid ani yamayna ala chassid," but hence he is dressed like a chassid. Because, and then we asked, what was the chassidus? Remember what the shidduchs were? Either his special chassidus was that this is very visual to me. It's very. He says, all of the kings sit around the gudos at their cocktail parties, but my yadim luchlachos, my hands are filthy with the blood and the shvir and the shilia.
Right.
Blood, and afterwards, k'dei latar isha labayla, and I told you, I'm convinced that shot in that approach is that I would look what I would do anything to do a chesed for another person in order to be matar isha labayla and for shalom bayis. I'm prepared to roll my sleeves and fiddle around with afterwards, which is about the most disgusting you can imagine. And that was one approach. The other approach was that, look, I'll get up at midnight and everyone else is sleeping. I'm uploading Torah all night. So and I told you, I think that Pshat is either it's Ben on the Chavero or Ben on the Makom, as it's Chassidus, two approaches. Fine, that was David dressed up as a Chassid. And we also just, and there was a very important point on him. I saw the footnote in the Pnei Yeshua, I'll mention to you again. The question was, why is David saying, aren't I a chassid? That's a little congruous with what we know about David. So he said, because Shmuel this is a very important point. One of the first heavy great things I learned teaching the Shia I didn't know before, and I love this, I'm talking to you again. That Pnei Yeshua said that Shmuel told the people, they said, we want a king like all the other Goyim. So Shmuel said, oh, you're doomed. If you want to be like all the Goyim, then you're finished. And then when Shmuel appointed David essentially, this is Pnei Yeshua putting the words, David Melech says, well, if they need a king, Hashem says for me, I'll do it, but I don't want to be dragged. Shmuel had said, your king will be dragged down with you, I don't want to be dragged down. Therefore, I'm not going to be a king like all the other kings. They had said we want a king like all the other Goyim, but I'm not like a Goyish king. And that's, so David Melech said, look, I'm not like a Goyish king, either A, because look what I'll do, a king, I'm not here to look chashuv, I'm here to help people, or I'm not sleeping in late, like the other kids, they get up early and learn on life and whatever it is. Along the way, we talked about David Melech, he went to Mephibosheth and God was embarrassed by him, and then he had a son, Kilab, and all these kind of things. Daniel was in his name, and all the things. Okay, that was Daled. Hey.
Haystack.
Was a haystack. By the way, all these are not mine. These are all Avram Goldhart, Rabbi Goldhart's mnemonics. I took them from him. In any case, good information, I guess.
How's the Hebrew word?
I think it's called the Gadish. If you care, it's not relevant.
Doesn't sound like it.
Right. These mnemonics are made for people like us who are ambidextrous in language.
Okay.
Anyways, Doesn't matter, haystack. I just put English in case you're lost for some reason on Hebrew. So what was the simon? The picture was, remember someone was lying down. Rabbi Yochanan, very good. Rabbi Yochanan was lying down on a haystack.
With a needle sticking out.
That's right. He was saying, what was he doing? He was saying Kriyash Malamita, he was trying to sleep on the haystack. But he was suffering terribly because the needles were poking into him. So why is that? Rabbi Yochanan featured probably throughout the daf. Remember some of the stuff with him? Rabbi Yochanan is a beautiful guy and one of the things that happened there, so the theme, there's a big theme about suffering. That's the suffering that he's doing. And we had the Yisur Shel Ahava there, and Rabbi Yochanan went to visit a couple people, and when he went to Rabbi Lazar, he saw it was like in the dark, and then he rolled up his sleeve and lit it up, and he was crying. Why are you crying? You know, it's because you didn't learn Torah. Don't worry, did your best. You're not rich. Well, don't worry, I don't have everything. He says, no, I'm crying because someone that's beautiful for you is going to rot on the ground. And he says, yeah, that you should cry about for sure. So that was Rabbi Yochanan featured in a number of stories there. He was the one who had the bone of his 10th child, or whether the bone was a tooth, and so on, that he would consult people with, etc., etc. So we had Rabbi Yochanan appearing many times, saying Kriyash Malamita. The truth is, if you want to be very technical, the topic of Kriyash Malamita starts at the very end of Daf Daled on the base, and it goes on to Daf Hey. But anyways, that becomes a theme. That if you say Kriyash Malamita, it's like your ochez. You're holding a double-edged sword in your hand because it chases away both the Yisur and the suffering and also the Mazikin. That will come back to that in a little bit and the next off. But in any case, yeah. So you're saying Krishna Mita, you have, it protects you. It's a protection. And then we talked about because it staves off suffering. Then we said, we talked about Yisur Shel Ahava. Along the way, we had the discussion Machlokas with Rabbi Yochanan, if the relationship between Talmud Torah and suffering, because we said if a person sees suffering coming his way, so he should be mafashrish masa. If he doesn't find, he should examine his ways, and if he can't figure what it is, he should be told it. He should ascribe it to Bittul Torah. And then we said, well, if that doesn't make sense, then it must be Yisur Shel Ahava. So we had that topic over there, and then went to the Yisur Shel Ahava discussion. So that was Rabbi Yochanan, Yisur Shel Ahava, suffering. Kriyash Malamita, staving it off. Fine, good. That's a haystack. And then Vav was a stick. Vav was a stick. So you see there's like just obviously the connections here are, the mind is associative, base and bias. It's just obviously is auditory, Gimel and Gamal, similarly auditory, Daled and Delt, auditory. Hay, different. Hay, haystack. Vav is just based on the shape of the letter. What are you going to do? Right? So the association of Vav is like, looks like a stick. Our mnemonic for the Vav is complex. But it's worth finding out anyways. Remember what it was? Vav is a stick being waved by Zera. He's running to chase away the Mazikin
To the
who
back
are
of the shul.
behind the shul, looking for Hashem's tefillin, because they heard that's where Hashem can be found. Yes, that's a very complex mnemonic. What do you want? It's like, that's only half of the topics on the daf. There's like a million things going on that daf. So I crammed as much as I could. Let's just go through them quickly. So Reb Zera, how did he fit in? Reb Zera is the one who said, jump around, I'll do the order of the mnemonic, there's so many things. Reb Zera had said, originally when I saw people running on Shabbos, on third Nachal Shabbos, and they were running for the Shir, till I heard, maybe Shmuel Levi, who said, you should run for a Devar, and Halacha was the Gir Sam Daf, and Devar Mitzvah. You should run, even on Shabbos. And when I heard that, I started running too. That was his running, Reb Zera. And then and I told you, in my goofy mind, Reb Zera is memorable to me because same way Rabbi Yochanan, in my mind I always say this, elsewhere he's described with very bushy eyebrows, that you couldn't see his eyes. I think that's very funny, and very fat, bal basar. So he couldn't sit up. He was whatever, you'll see. But that was considered beautiful, that's why I think it's very funny. He was bushy eyebrowed and he was so big he couldn't sit up properly in bed, whatever you'll see. But the point is, notwithstanding, he was so beautiful that when he lost Jerusalem's beauty was lost. So Reb Zera, in my mind, is a very stern character. And you will see that throughout the stories of Reb Zera. He was a no-nonsense kind of a guy. You'll see stories again and again. So anyways, I can just picture this, stern character. So I'm like, wow! Those Talmud running on Shabbos, waving a stick. I can imagine waving a stick is very, I can just imagine this old grumpy man waving a stick. In any case, that's helpful for you to remember, maybe think about it. So Reb Zera, and then from after the running on Shabbos issue, How do we get on that topic? We got on that topic because we said when you leave the shul, you shouldn't run. And Rabbi said, well, yeah, leaving but not going in, thank you very much, because if you're going in, the me'al to base knesset, it's the base medrash, it's okay. That's what we got on that topic. And then once Rabbi Zera talked about running, they ended up saying something interesting. I actually quoted this Gemara last night. That he said that the main, where were they running on Shabbos? To the pirka, which is like the drasha. So he said the agra, the pirka, the main schar you get for running to the drasha on Shabbos is the rahat, is the running itself. Because you don't remember what you learned anyways over there, so at least you learned, right? That was Rashi's very disconcerting comment. Since you can't reconstruct what you learned when you leave the shir, it doesn't count as learning, but at least you made the effort to go. And we answered maybe it's other pshatim that are less indicting. And then we went on that topic, by the way, we said there are actually 7 things, I don't know if I remember them all. We said the primary reward you get for the pirka is the rahata, the running. The primary reward you get for the kala, that was the big, Siyam Shas type get together they got. Before the Yom Tov, like before Pesach, they would have everyone would get together to learn Hilchos Pesach, it's a massive Madison Square Garden crowd. So there at least the schar you get is duchka. You put up the things launched, that was your reward. There were 7. The schar of the pirka, the kala, I don't remember them all. But we had, this now we have order. I don't even know order anymore. The Beit Tamya, that was the sitting guard over the Beit Tamya at the House of Bones, or sitting Shiva, which is what I was at yesterday. Len Gordon knows sitting Shiva, so I went to him yesterday. So my son came with me and he set a different hour board for not saying a word, so I told him afterwards. And I said, don't worry, this main argument at Beit Tamya is shtikus, being quiet. And we had I'm out of order, I'm sorry. The schar of the wedding, Beit Hilule, is milei. The wedding is the words you say to the chassan telling him to go to the catch. The schar of the hesped is the deluye, making people evoke emotion. It's 5. There were 2 more. Remember what they were? Schar of the, I don't remember. But I don't off the top. One second. The agra of the shmaita, of the halachic sugya is the svara, and the tainus. The schar of the tainus is the tzedakah you do after, because of it or after, motivated by it, not the fasting itself. So, yes, that was Rabbi Zera, the stick running. Obviously, he was running behind the shul because there was a sugya there about the Rishayim Saviv. Rishayim go roundabout ways, and we say if you daven on the shul, and you're not facing towards the shul, then you're called a Rasha. And the story of Eliyahu Navi, or not, I think maybe the Arab came and chopped off the guy's head, or Kadu Bar came to, as if you're facing, as if you have 2 gods. And moving on from there, the topic of the pasuk of Sav Rishayim Yalachun, Yisalachun, we said the pasuk ends Krum Zlus B'nei Adam. We said what's Krum Zlus, and we said it's 2 kind of pshatim there that you karom, that which is high up, zalut, you make low, things that stand in the room which olam, people are make zilzul of them, like tefillah, or else we have to discuss about values a little bit there. Or we said it's like this person's embarrassed. The other pshat, the Rishayim go around the back way to run into the creditor goes in an unusual way to find the debtor to remind him he owes him money, and the debtor turns colors, like a certain bird called the krum in the islands that changes colors when the sun shines on it, and the person changes colors, and so on, din of water and fire and so on. Okay, so that was the whole topic there. And then running the stick behind the shul to chase away the mazikin, because remember on Daf Hey, we had said there are the saying Kriya Shema Lamita chases away the suffering, the Yisurin, and also here chase away the mazikin. So we discussed mazikin. There was a funny sugya over there. If we could see it, then we wouldn't be able to stand up to them. I said psychologically stand up to it, so you freak out because you got 1,000 on your left, 10,000 on your right, and you could put ash under bed and see them, and you can put, you know, roasted placenta from a black cat in your eye and see them, put them in like, but don't forget to put it in the steel pipe and seal it, or else they'll get into you and keep your mouth shut, or else bad news will happen, and baby bar and buy tried it, doesn't happen to him, but they going crazy, but they pray that he gets saved. So that's about the Mazikin. And then behind the shul chased the Mazikin, who were looking for Shem's tefillin, because they had a long sugya, I should say, that how do you know Hashem was tefillin, and what's inside the tefillin, Mikam Chai Yisrael, and we darshaned all the six different paragraphs are in the Hashem support tefillin, and reconcile 6-4, and everything's on alarm, okay, all that kind of stuff. That was tefillin, and then the last thing is because they heard that's where Hashem can be found, because that was the beginning of the Amud. There's a lot of things about where Hashem can be found. A minyan, Adas Kel, the shul, and when 10 people are there, Hashem comes, and even 3, and even 2, and even 1, and what's the difference? 1, Hashem's there, my name is allowed to go out, but by 2, Hashem writes it down. So maybe it's like the Tzaddik, it's like in your head, makes a roshim in your mind, and maybe else is like that. And we said 3, that's like, you might think it's a base din, just Shalom, but no, they're doing Torah, and even 10, the difference is by 10, Hashem comes first, and waits for them. So that's Hashem can be found. In the shul, another piece had said, you should pray in the shul because Hashem's there. B'makam rina Hashem te'etfila, where they sing in shul, that's where you should pray, and so on. So Hashem be found. Huh?
Don't leave your friend while still praying.
Oh, right, exactly right. At the bottom, exactly right. You shouldn't leave your friend while still praying. We have machlokas there if it applies nowadays or not. But in those days, leaving them in a scary place, you can have kabbalah, and if you do, Hashem prepares your prayer in front of them, so fine. So okay, good. So look what we did outside. I don't know if necessarily you'll be able to do all of that detail on your own, but that's how the mnemonic is supposed to work. And if you just do that, so if you just do that, you can keep if you keep on doing it, you know, I told you the Greek story of Hercules putting the baby cow on his shoulders and he's not letting it off. So the Masechta gets bigger and bigger and bigger, obviously, but as long as you don't let up on the review, it builds up also. Work through. That's what we've done so far. Now we're in the middle of Daf Zayin. We haven't got a simon yet for it. But I told you, in my mind at least, because we got so far afield from anything, like you feel like a lot of normally, like most of the time in the Shas, you have this Mishnayos, there are anchors, and you can see how you're connected. Like how the heck did we go on to these like weird topics where Hashem is found? How that like hook back up? So I kind of said the Daf of largely through where Hashem is found. We talk about bias and Makmon Tefillah and Shechina and so on, His presence. Daf Zayin, I said, it goes from there to how Hashem is Hagas Hashem overall, and we get to different discussions. In the beginning of Daf Zayin, we talked about that Rabbi Shmuel and Elisha, Kohen Gadol, who went into the Kodesh Kodashim and saw Hashem, or whatever, he saw a Katriel or whatever there, and said, B'ni Barcheni, he said, Hashem, how do you know Hashem prays? What does he pray? He prays, based tefillah, see, Hashem's house is prayer, and what does he pray? He prays it as Midas Harachim Shor Midas Adin, and that was the prayer that Rabbi Shmuel and Elisha gave him. By the way, I went to Bar Mitzvah in Erev Pesach, so I saw Chacham Hillel, which is what's the name of Yaakov Hillel. Yaakov Hillel. His first name is Yaakov, his last name is Hillel. This one, Chacham Hillel, right? So he's like I don't know how he's at the top of the pile there. Certainly in the English-speaking Kabbalistic world, he's at the top of the pile. And so I saw him at Bar Mitzvah, so I went up to him and I asked him, like, what he had to say about this piece. Like, what is that? What's going on over there? I asked him. So I said, I knew. I think I mentioned there's a discussion if what exactly is being revealed to Rabbi Shmuel ben Elisha. Is it Hashem or is it a Malach? Because if it's Hashem, like, what is that supposed to mean? But if it's a Malach, there's sort of technical problem because no one, even Malachim, are not allowed to go inside the Kaddish Kodashim when the incense is going up. They're not allowed to be there. So I told him, I asked him what the pshat was, or what I said, Alpi Nister, what's going on over there. So I saw right away that the question was He'd know who I was, but it doesn't matter. Even if he wouldn't know who I was, it wouldn't help anything. But so he didn't know where to start, because obviously it's like, a big complicated topic. So he basically didn't say anything to me that I can say over to you, because he didn't say much. He just said, well, Pinister, when Hashem reveals himself in such a high revelation of Hashem, it's sort of like Hashem himself, but like all revelation of Hashem happens through Malachim. Whatever that, I think he said that to me. I hope he said that to me. But anyways, it didn't mean so much to me, and I didn't know what to say. He basically said, have a nice day. But I asked him where, in future, if I see things like this, where does one look? Because I don't know. Just don't look at the Ben Yoyada, which I do look at. I have one on the shelf there. The Ben Ishchai has two Sfarim, the Ben Yoyada and the Ben Yahu, which I have, and he discussed that. I didn't tell him that, yes, because every time I look over there, I don't know what it's talking about. That was a suggestion. If you want to understand what's happening, like what's shot in these weird Kabbalistic sugyas, he grapples with the Ben Ishchai, so I have to do the Kabbalist. Anyways, that was his advice to me. So that's that. Okay, so Zion talks about the Hanhagas Hashem and how Hashem deals with things, and we talked at length about that. We ended up at on the base, we basically said this idea that Hashem, the Hanhaga of Hashem requires a person to be cognizant of that Hanhaga, and then we said the first person who called Hashem Adon was Avram Avinu, and he related to Hashem and his Hanhaga not just as being this infinite transcendent thing, but the personal boss, Adon. And then we said, once we're talking about no one calling names, no one calling Hashem Adon for Avram, well, no one said thanks to Hashem until Leah, thanks, we'll discuss it at length, thanks, rather, because last year we gave, till Leah who called her son Yehuda. We talked about the name Yehuda, that's another topic, and that's what we're up to today. So that's where we're like the middle of the thought. So the more than think over the story, you're having the time. A little short, but we'll do something. And I hope this is worth a while. I hope this inspired you to make an effort to keep this running down. So Daf Zayin, over here, on Zayin on the base. We're in a series of statements by Rabbi Yochanan said the name Rabbi Yochanan said the name Rav Shimon Bar Yochai. Rav Shimon Bar Yochai. His day is coming soon. So it says I didn't move my paper, sorry. Okay, so I'll count it out. 5. On line 15, it says Es Hashem and then 2 dots. So the Gemara now continues on. Okay, so the Gemara just starts out kind of in a funny way. It just says Reuven, like since we're talking about names of Leah's kids, I guess. So like here's another one throughout there. Reuven. As far as Reuven's name goes, Amra Elazar, Amra Leah. Leah said. Now, remember when Leah, she was a Neviah, so but notwithstanding that, she's naming the child like at age 0, obviously, and hasn't done anything. So now we'll discuss that in a second. But Amra Leah. Leah said, Ra'u, see, like imperative, look and see. Ma bein b'ni leven chami. So, ma bein b'ni leven chami. Look at the difference between my son and the son of my father-in-law. Who's Leah's father-in-law? Yitzchak. And Yitzchak's son was?
Esau.
Esau, that's right. So the point is, look how my son, Reuven, is different than my father-in-law's son, Esau. Why? Dilu ben Chami, when it comes to my father-in-law's son, meaning Esau, Afagav de Medate Zavnei L'Buchorte, he, by his own volition, he knew that he was selling the Bechorah, the firstborn birthright. T'chsiv, as the pasuk says, V'yim kores Bechorato. He, Esau, opted to sell his Bechorah, his birthright, Li'Yaakov. But, end of quote, Chazu, now look, Chazu is same as Ru'u. Chazu is like, so look, Maksiv Bey, look what it says about Esau, the bad guy. Vayishtom Esav et Yaakov. Esau was, hated him on his inside. He didn't speak it out, but he was harboring. Is that a word for that in English? It's like to harbor resentment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
maybe resent is the best word I can think of. Vayish, it's like a verb, right? He resented him. He was bitter. He hated him for having, quote unquote, stolen the Bechorah, when the truth is he didn't steal it. Esav chose to hand it over to him. Whatever, I'm not discussing that. So, but the point is,
I get it.
the point is different. And also V'yomer, he also, like as a second point, Uksiv, it's also written that Esav, in his bitterness towards Yaakov, V'yomer, he said, Hachi kara shmo Yaakov. Yeah, you want to know why his name is called Yaakov? V'yakaveni zeh pamayim, because he tricked me. Yaakov v'yakaveni means to, I don't know what the word in English. Like to go
Surreptitiously.
surreptitious, surreptitious. He tricked me. Tricked means trick. Like Yaakov, he went around now, and went around and tricked me these 2 times. Meaning he's referring to the time of the Bechorah before, and now he was furious that Yaakov had stolen his blessing from Yitzhak at the end of Yitzhak's life there. In any case, V'ilu b'ni, says Leah, as for my son Reuven, Afagav dal korche shakle Yosef l'buchorte. He also lost his Bechorah because at the end, what happens is, think about it for a second. Yosef didn't get one piece of land in Eretz Yisrael. He got 2 portions of land. Both Ephraim and Menashe got, so he got a double portion. So Yosef, the Bechor from Rachel, that's maybe a bit of Rachel's firstborn, we'll call it, right? So really, the firstborn child to the father was Reuven. So Reuven, by rights, is the Bechor. But nevertheless, in the end of the day, it was the firstborn of Rachel who got the double portion in Eretz Yisrael. So Reuven got, got shortchanged, so to speak, would be like Esav did. So, but nevertheless, now look how my son's different, because he didn't harbor resentment. Quite to the opposite, he was willing to
Rescue.
rescue him. Yeah. So here's this inside exactly. Dal korche shakle Yosef l'buchorte minei t'chsiv. How do you see that the birthright got taken from him? Because it says, this is a pasuk from Divrei Yamim that says, Uv'chalalo yitzuai aviv, when he defiled the bed of his father. Whatever the story there is, but that story I'm going to get into now. So nitna b'chorato l'vnei Yosef. So his Bechorah, his birthright, was handed over to the boys of Yosef, meaning Ephraim and Menashe. So Reuven got 1 portion, Yosef got 2, and nevertheless, still lo eknavei. Nevertheless, there wasn't jealousy or resentments on that behalf of Reuven towards Yosef. T'chsev, as you see, v'yishma Reuven heard what the boys are going to do to Yosef by the pit, v'yetzileo mi'adam, and he saved them from. I shouldn't say that. They were going to kill him, and he saw they were going to kill him. And v'yetzileo mi'adam, Reuven saved Yosef by just having him thrown into the pit, and later on it's time to rescue him. So you see that he's different. The question would be, there's a couple of questions. One question is, how does that's the mechanics here? I mean, the machine named him Reuven, it was early on, this debate. So the Pashup shot, I think the upshot is that the pasuk says, Hashem has seen my misery, my humiliation, and therefore has given me a child. Because remember, Yaakov was a little irritated. He got saddled with Leah. He wanted to marry Rachel, and so there wasn't much shalom bias there. So Rachel didn't have kids. Leah did have kids, and that she hoped would sort of be compensatory to bring Yaakov closer to her. So she said that's the reason why. So that was the reason why that presumably there's a bit of machlokas exactly how cognizant she was of the significance of the name beyond that. But let's just keep it simple and say not at all. She named it for the reason of the pasuk. But later on, you'll see that the name had deeper significance. Some want to say it's a little more than that because, she was a Nevi'ah, and Ru'u doesn't tell you Ru'uven, just as a Ru'u part of Hashem has seen my suffering. But whatever it is exactly, that the point is that she certainly didn't know the full import of the name, but as history played itself out, it becomes evident later on. And we'll see tomorrow that we see Shema Garam, the name actually is significant, but one doesn't know ahead of time. Hashem put the name in the person's head to name the child, but the significance of the name is only known ex post facto afterwards. There's a separate question about the order of events here. Think this through for a second. Bring a proof for saying, look what a great tzaddik Reuven was. He wasn't, resentful towards Yosef tried to save him, even though he lost the Bechor and 2 portions got to Yosef's sons. The thing is, though, Yosef's sons got their 2 portions like way later in the story. So it's not adding up. So the answer is must be, and there's slight different variations of the Terutzim given, but it's all the same gist, which is he really, if step 1 is the chosen wife was Rachel, and that's who should have, Rachel should have been the primary wife, and her kids should have gotten the Bechorah. Then circumstances worked otherwise. But as soon as Reuven got involved with the bed, messing around with the beds, and he was aware then that the consequence would be he was now dethroned from the Bechorah. And nevertheless knowing that it's going to be Yosef who's going to pick up the slack as the firstborn from another mother because he's lost it, because he's been a bad boy or whatever. So, even so, he wasn't resentful, even though he then lost his position as firstborn, and still saved Yosef, who ironically caused a lot of problems also for the family, perhaps. So that's Reuven. I'm over time. Before we end, so I saw a Gra, which I believe I've never seen in a million years. You can look at the article footnotes, but I read them all. So the article brings to the bottom an interesting Gra, because it asks. The Gemara is not going to talk anymore about other boys. So the question is, why just Reuven and not Shimon and Levi? What's one because their names also? So the Gemara says, amazingly, if you look at the Pesukim, you'll see all of the Pesukim, they say a reason, like something was going on, let's say in the mind of Leah, let's call it, and then that motivated her to give a name to the kid. But with Reuven, it's the other way around. It says first she called him Reuven, and then it gives the motivation afterwards. So you can look at the Pesukim, whatever. We're out of time, but the Pesukim like that. So the Gra says that indicates that there's something more to the name than just the reason she gave, because the reason she gave was already only an afterthought, so it was only a partial story. Whereas the other ones, the full reason, the rationale is given, and therefore that motivated the beginning of the name. So the order of the Pesukim and the rationale is different, it indicates that the name is different, hence the Gemara is interested in the first of the names. A classic comment on the Gra would happen.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very good.
Yeshua.
Okay, great to be back.
Yashka.